Welcome, I'm your host Joshua Lowe, and today we're going to talk about the REI Half Dome 2 Plus. As the name implies, this is a little bit larger than the normal two-person tent. It had enough room for me, my 12-year-old nephew, and all of our gear. Now, I'm 5'6", my nephew's 5'2", and we were able to put our gear at our feet and lay down, stretch out comfortably without touching any of the walls or our gear while we were sleeping. It has enough room that if I had wanted to bring my dogs, I could have brought my dogs and either put them inside the tent with us or put them outside the tent just under the vestibule. The poles come in kind of like a spider-like design. You have the main center pole with 4 poles coming off. It's an interesting tent pole design. I've never seen one like this. And it's fairly simple to put together. You just insert the poles into the grommets, and then you just clip the tent to the poles, similar to the North Face Stormbreak 1, except in this instance, you don't have 2 poles, I guess. The tent itself, REI claims it weighs 5 pounds 1 ounce for the minimum trail weight, and the package weight is 5 pounds 7 ounces. However, if you just want to go with the vestibule or fly, whatever you want to call it, and the ground cloth or ground cover, it's going to weigh 3 pounds and some odd ounces. I don't remember how many ounces it is, but it doesn't really save you a whole lot of weight. However, if you are trying to cut weight, that is one way to go. For me, the first thing I did when I purchased this tent, I went out and bought lightweight stakes because I don't like the stakes that most tents come with. And the lightweight stakes in a previous tent saved me a couple pounds, but with that tent I had like the nail stakes, so those are pretty heavy. The first time I took out this tent, it rained pretty heavy and I had all of the vents closed. And the thing I noticed was that water was dripping on me while I was sleeping, and I did not like that at all. The second time I took this out, it wasn't supposed to rain at all, and some of the footage is from that second trip. The darker footage is from that trip. It didn't rain at all. I had the vents open, however, dew or moisture still got inside the tent, and while it wasn't dripping on me, it was on the fly, and I had to pack it up wet. So packing it wet, obviously it's going to unpack wet. So that wasn't a lot of fun. I left it up for a week out in the backyard, knowing that it was going to rain later in the week. So after the first couple days, it hadn't rained yet, but water was still inside the tent. And then once it did rain, the water, I shouldn't say water was inside the tent. Dew was inside the tent. The tent did a pretty good job of keeping the rain out. It was the dew that I had the problem with. Overall, I kind of like this tent. I don't think I've used it enough to really say yes or no. However, the one thing I really love about this tent is the amount of space. I can't say enough about how much space it is. Even for a shorter person like myself, this makes a pretty big difference with comfort level. Now, with the moisture that I was getting inside the tent, at this point I don't know if that's me or if that's the tent design. So I'm going to have to use it several more times to really make up my mind on that. On this one, I really can't say if I would recommend it or if I wouldn't recommend it. I don't think I've used it enough. I don't think I've gotten enough experience with it. So perhaps in the future, I'll do an update for you. This concludes this week's episode. Feel free to like the video down below, and if you haven't done so already, subscribe to our channel. See you next week.